Do your students want to advocate for the welfare of their patients? Do your students have a passion to help create healthcare policy? Do they have the skills to find solutions and influence legislative decision makers? Are your students eager to lead? The LEAD experience immerses learners in the role of health policy research analysts, working closely with local and state legislators, along with specialized LEAD faculty, to fast-track the production of legislative health policy briefs. In the LEAD experience, learners are mentored by legislators drawn from diverse political parties. These legislators have significant potential legislation to propose and a need to draw on the specialized knowledge and skills of health professionals. The learners contribute to health policy research, analysis, and solution framing in their roles as scientists, clinicians, and public health experts.
With all the media attention on doctrinal battle lines and political factionalism, one very important fact frequently gets lost. Legislators on all sides of the aisle are hamstrung by their woefully inadequate access to unbiased evidence, dispassionate analysis, and impartial briefing about complex, multidimensional problems they need to understand to legislate intelligently and communicate clearly to their constituencies. Without the active engagement of fair and civically minded health professionals, legislators are left to depend on special interests, unidimensional lobbyists, or profit-driven agents to help them figure out their legislative course. We are all too familiar with the stories of legislation passed without legislators having even read the bill or lacking basic awareness of its unfolding consequences.
The LEAD experience is a call to action for emerging health professional leadership to leave the sidelines, step out of the shadows of skepticism and frustration, and join in conversations that matter with the folks who govern in our name.
I thought the biggest thing that the healthcare provider would bring to the table in this realm of advocacy is knowledge of how these things actually work on the ground, how they work in the hospital, what those policies actually translate out to. And this was February of my third year of medical school, so I'd only done a handful of rotations. So I figured, well, again, I just haven't been in the hospital enough. I haven't done enough things to really know how this translates to real day-to-day clinical practice, was my concern. And then again, I spoke to the senator and I realized, well, he's even further away from clinical practice, so even the limited insight I have can still be of value.
Not only did we talk to them about, here are some of the things we think is salient, is relevant to this kind of law that we're considering, this analysis, but then what else are they considering? What kind of political pressures or factors are they entering into the equation? And so that becomes this sort of dialogical or process, which was interesting. So it was sort of a process of getting to meet these people and then also getting a deeper understanding of the issue as well.
Policy briefs created by our LEAD graduates have been consistently well received by their legislative mentors, and in many cases have produced invitations for participants to testify and help write meaningful legislation. Most importantly, LEAD experience participants have personally achieved dramatically increased knowledge, skills, and confidence in their ability to shape policies that affect their patients and communities.
So in the LEAD program, our learners begin as value-neutral participants within the limits of their conscience. And they serve as process facilitators in the service of legislative clients. Now, initially, these learners set off on a course to discover the nature and the history of healthcare policymaking in the U.S., the components of the specific policy development related to need and resource assessments. The learners then continued to explore problem description, integrating the inputs of multiple systems and evaluative and predictive modeling of solutions. The learners perceive a sensitivity to the individual legislators' values and priorities, as well as the community's perspectives and the stakeholder alliances that determine political will back home in the legislator's district.
LEAD's creative processes stimulate learners to willingly challenge their own familiar, doctrinal, presumptive, tribal, cultural, customary, or egoistic identities.
And I was like, I don't see how this person and I are going to have anything in common, first of all. And then he represents a party that I have a preconceived idea of what is it that they're looking for, what is it that they usually work for. So yeah, I definitely had a preconceived idea, but then after we met and we found like common ground, basically, it changed a little bit my idea. And even like after the other talks that we were having with the mentors and in the LEAD program, it changed. Like it definitely it changed some of my preconceived ideas. It did.
The LEAD Experience faculty includes physicians and other healthcare professionals, as well as experts from the educational, political, scientific, technology, and communications sectors. Essential to the LEAD experience, active and self-directed learning pathways are provided in class and online, creating an iterative process optimizing opportunities for learners to develop their professional and community networks. The LEAD experience has often led to extraordinarily positive and empathic relationships between learners and legislators who initially appeared to be at loggerheads, evidence of the program's emphasis on process rather than position. Are your students ready to lead? The LEAD program offers a novel, dramatic, supportive, and collaborative venue for health professionals to begin to actualize their aspirational longing towards leadership, advocacy, and transformational achievement in venues where they are most needed. Would you be interested in an exploratory conversation about the LEAD experience with the UIC principal investigator for the project? Please contact James Ronayne, MD, at jamesronayne@gmail.com.